Hello, metal fans. This is Matthew Hunt. I own and run Retroactive Records and Boone's Overstock. And today I wanted to talk to you about some upcoming releases. I also wanted to show you the very first test pressings of some classic albums that have never been available on vinyl before. And just tell you a little bit about what makes the band Modest Attraction so special and deserving of your time and energy, and most of all, your hard earned money. Um, the band Modest Attraction, I first came across them in the 90s, and um, I kind of ended up finding out about them in a really obscure way. I had seen their albums advertised by Rad Rockers. Remember those Rad Rocker catalogs that you could get that were basically like an encyclopedia of Christian music. You could find out about all kinds of rare imports and things like that. I'd seen those, and it was kind of odd, but the mother of my children, her father had a childhood friend that was a foreign exchange student from Sweden, came over to where we lived. I can't remember where we lived at the time, maybe Macomb, Illinois, which is not too far from Cornerstone Festival, or we might have been in Kansas City area, Independence, Missouri at the time. I can't remember for sure, but I had a mail order business, music mail order business called Rugged Cross Connections, and you could just send a self-addressed stamped envelope, and I would mail you uh, just a paper printed list. It wasn't hand, but I would just print it out on a piece of paper, staple them together, and mail that out. And I did used CDs, vinyl records, cassettes, new, used, and new. And so I met the mother of my children, her dad's childhood friend, and he was from Sweden, and he found out that I was into Christian music, and he says, "Oh, I am like good friends with a guy in Sweden that runs a Christian uh, record club." It's like it would like be Spirit or BMG or whatever. I can't remember what the name of the Christian record and tape and CD clubs were. I can't remember exactly. I know one was Spirit. Can't remember the rest. I know Columbia had some, BMG had some, not really sure. But anyway, I found a guy over there and I thought, well, this is great because I can trade with him and I can send him domestic stuff from the States. He can send me imports from Sweden. And that's exactly what we did. And that's how I initially got introduced to the band Modest Attraction, because I could trade for him in the United States and they're released in Sweden. And so through this childhood friend of my father-in-law, he hooked me up. I got other stuff from this guy as well, uh, and because I ended up getting just a bunch of Europe, Swedish releases like Blind Side before they got licensed to the States, Self Minded, stuff like that. It was great. So I was a big fan of the band Modest Attraction. Uh, and I got those CDs in, and there were only two of them: The Truth in Your Face, and then after that one, Divine Luxury. These are original issue copies released on Viva Records. As you can see, a Swedish band, originally released in 1994. Now, why should you care about Modest Attraction? Uh, Number one, Modest Attraction was formed out of a band called Borderline, another Swedish band. It involved three people that had been part of Borderline, and one of them, Mick Nordstrom, I believe I'm saying that right, who was part of the band Leviticus during the Knights of Heaven tour. And so, three members of Borderline plus one member of Leviticus, they they had been Borderline, which was more of a classic hard rock AOR band. From Sweden, I don't know really how to, maybe like Dockinish or Rage of Angels, that kind of a vibe. So along those lines, commercial hard rock and metal, and they left Borderline and they started the band Modest Attraction with the idea that it would be a band that really embraced a 70s hard rock and metal sound. So any stuff like Uriah Heep, classic Deep Purple, things like that. That's the kind of vibe, even early Whitesnake. And there's a real heavy influence of B3 organ, the Hammond B3 organ. It's amazing. I love it. Plus, as you can see, the guys are all decked out in their 70s vibe garb, and they really did that well. And I didn't grow up listening to 70s heavy metal. I was born in 1970. My parents didn't listen to that stuff. I was also taught that it was a sin to listen to any non-Christian music, and I followed that for the longest time. And as a result, I still collect Christian music and like Christian music because that's what I grew up listening to. It's my stuff. So anyway, I didn't know that it sounded like Uriah Heep and Deep Purple and that kind of stuff, but it does. And it has lots of organ. It has remarkable guitars. There's a lot of funk. There's a lot of soul, but man, is it 70s through and through. The band had the look and the sound, and it was great. Well, three members out of the three members from Borderline that started Modest Attraction, one of them was Christian Liljegren. Not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but I know it's somewhat correct. And Christian would go on to start the band Narnia as well. But after Borderline, Christian teamed up with the other two members of Borderline and Mick Nordstrom from Leviticus, Mick was also in the band Heartcry, if you've heard of that one, and they became Modest Attraction. Modest Attraction, um, in part, came out because when Mick and Christian met, because they had some like gigs together, they got to know each other, and part of what drew them to each other was that they both had a deep love for the UK band The Sweet. Now, full disclosure, I don't know if I've heard anything by The Sweet. I may have. If it's a radio song and I just, sometimes you hear stuff on the radio, you don't know who's singing it, but you like it. But I don't know anything by The Sweet. I didn't grow up listening to The Sweet, but Mick and and Christian both had a deep love of the band The Sweet. And I believe we actually have a Sweet cover on one of these albums. I think Burn on the Flame, I believe, off of Divine Luxury. I think that is a song from The Sweet. But they recorded their first demos in 1991. It was one 5-song demo, 5 songs by the band Modest Attraction, cassette only. Um, Now, keep in mind that Christian was also in a band from 1988 to 1990. I'm sorry, 1988 to 89. Christian was in a band called Trivial, which we are also going to be releasing in the days ahead. But they had a deal with Kingsway, which is a UK-based label. They were the big deal. They were a real big deal back in the late 80s and even into the 90s. And when they were out doing some stuff, uh, they had a hotshot guitarist, guitar hero, named Stefan. And Stefan was a guitar player in the vein of like Yngwie Malmsteen, Richie Blackmore, and that kind of stuff. And they added Stefan to the band Modest Attraction for these demos, and um, they recorded their second demo in April of 1992. And so there were two 5-song demos. We have put up pre-orders for Modest Attraction, the album Get Ready on CD and vinyl. Get Ready is a collection of those two 5-song demo tapes. So Modest Attraction, Get Ready are the first recordings by the band Modest Attraction, but really it's two 5-song demos that came together to make one 10-song release. I believe there are some copies of Get Ready as a collection of those 10 songs available somewhere, but I think they're mostly or exclusively only in Sweden. And I'm not sure that a CD ever came out unless it was a CDR, but they called those two demos together on one album, Get Ready, and that's what we're putting out. It's the first time that the album Get Ready has ever been officially put out ever before. So, but that happened in 1992 with Get Ready. And then they decided to take it to the next level. In 1994, they took that 70s vibe, which they kind of hinted at a lot on Get Ready, but for the 1994 release called The Truth in Your Face, the band Modest Attraction took the 70s vibe to a whole new level. So that's when they put this one out in 1994. And they definitely took the 70s vibe to a new level. A lot of B3 Hammond organ, a lot of those classic big riffs, funk, soul, classic hard rock and metal throughout. So it's really, really intriguing stuff. And even though it has a nice 70s vibe, it really has its own feel, and it feels like a modern retro album, if there is such a thing. But one thing about this album, The Truth in Your Face, is it was released on Viva Records in Sweden, and the band enjoyed the support. They sold a few thousand CDs of it, and by 1996, the band ended up releasing their second full studio album, Divine Luxury, which is an absolute masterpiece. I'd say they're all three masterpieces, but my personal favorite is definitely Divine Luxury. What they did with that, they really explored the 70s vibe even fuller. The songs are just like one after the other, just ridiculously good. Uh, One of the things that happened around the time of Divine Luxury is Christian and the band Modest Attraction actually recruited a really key player. They recruited CJ Grimark, who was only 18 years old. Uh, CJ was also, I mean, he's been involved with a lot of releases that you probably know about. I know there's a Grimark band and release. I think I have it somewhere. I'm not sure where it is in my collection, but at 18 years old, he got recruited to play in Modest Attraction. That's been a lifelong relationship and friendship with Modest Attraction and with Christian as well. Later in 1996, Christian and CJ Grimark would go on to found the legendary, the epic band Narnia. Narnia, CJ and Christian would develop a relationship with a German based label and management company called MCM Records or MCM Music. Um, and they did a lot. They worked with Saver Machine. They worked with The Wedding Party. They worked with Narnia, and they launched Narnia as a neoclassical heavy metal band. Um, they launched them by getting them signed to Nuclear Blast Records. Worldwide distribution, and that CJ Christian and their neoclassical heavy metal sound broke open the doors for the band Narnia. All their years of hard work finally paid off. It was amazing what happened there. So, um, By 1997, the focus had turned to Narnia because the doors had been blown off there, and so Modest Attraction was sort of laying dormant. They didn't do a whole lot with it, but by 1999, just a few years later, Modest Attraction had actually found a lot of support and followers in the Japan market, and a label called Poly Canyon. If you're a collector, you've heard of Poly Canyon. A label in Japan called Poly Canyon signed Modest Attraction for a compilation CD release, which I actually had for a while, but once I found out that it didn't have any new songs on it, I ended up selling it because it's just a compilation of some of their songs. Now, they could have some rare songs on there, they could have some stuff from the demo tapes. I can't really remember. But that did come out, and Poly Canyon put out a lot of great mainstream metal releases like Joey Lynn Turner and bands like that. Oh, there's my phone. And there you go. That was Pastor Larry Dean from Triton. So, Larry, if you're watching this, I'll call you back in a second. As soon as I'm done with this video. But anyway, it was pretty great that Modest Attraction got all that attention in the Japan market, and until recently, all three of those albums, Get Ready, had never been put out by Modest Attraction. The Truth in Your Face, which was their 1994 release, and Divine Luxury, their 1996 release, all those were out of print. You could not get those anywhere. And so even if you could find them, they're really expensive. So what we're doing at Retroactive Records is we have been able to work with the band to be able to put these releases out remastered on CD and vinyl. And I've had a relationship with Christian from Narnia and Modest Attraction for many years. I can't say that we were very close, but we were always like able to call each other. I know that it had been a while since we talked on the phone, a number of years. But like anytime I had a question about Swedish metal or something like that, I would just shoot Christian an email. He always got back to me right away, and I always appreciate that because I mean he's a rock star. So he didn't have to reply to my questions about the Quill or some other Swedish band that I didn't understand the context in which I had this demo tape, and I just wanted him to tell me a little bit about it. He always did that. So finally, January 23rd of December of I'm sorry. December 23rd of 2020, I shot just on a whim. I shot Christian an email and said, "Hey, you've got these Modest Attraction albums. They're some of my favorite releases in the whole world. I'd love to put out remastered versions on CD and for the very first time on vinyl." And it just happened to be the right request at the right time, and it worked for Christian. He was excited about it. He was in a place to get other people involved so that we could absolutely get the best sounding remasters out of these, and especially since they're so important, such important releases in the history of hard rock and metal, especially in the Christian hard rock and metal scene. I wanted these to be really, really special. And Christian has written up I don't know how many words it is, but it's huge. A band history, that's in every release. We've got expanded booklets coming, and they've been digitally remastered by CJ Remark. So we're really, really excited about the work that they're doing. Uh, Scott Waters from No Life Till Metal has worked very closely with Christian to get the layouts just right for CD and vinyl. But we know how important these releases have been for metalheads, and we're excited to put them out. We want to make sure that everybody understands that members of these bands have worked in Jerusalem, Leviticus, Waymaker, Divine Fire, Audio Vision, Wisdom Call, just all kinds of Swedish band. This is an all-star cast of people that are professional musicians, have been putting out amazing quality work for years and years, and these Modest Attraction releases are absolutely essential. Now, one of the things I wanted to do was show you the test pressings for it. This is how we get our test pressings. Come in, say test pressings on it. Test pressings are what you get for vinyl. from manufacturing, and it gives you a chance to listen to it, make sure all the songs are right, make sure there's no flaws in the vinyl in any way. I always have mine shipped to Scott Waters from No Life Till Metal because he has an extremely discerning ear, and I do not trust myself. I really don't. I put stuff on and I work. I multitask all the time, and I have experienced where I have approved manufacturing, not necessarily vinyl, but I've approved stuff that had slight flaws that if you listen for it, you can hear it. But if you're not, it just, it's just like a quick skip and it goes right through. I don't ever want that to happen again. That happened many years ago. And so I have all the test pressing sent to Scott Water from No Life to Metal. Thank you, Scott, for your help in that. He approved these test pressings, and then I listened to them after I get them later. But I know you can't see much on this. It just looks like a blank one, but you can actually tell people you have seen an actual real life test pressing of Modest Attraction Divine Luxury Vinyl. So I'm going to give you a chance to see these. This is actually Modest Attraction Get Ready on vinyl. I want you to be able to say that you saw the test pressing for that as well. Again, it's going to look just like the one, side B, nothing on it. Side A, just got the letter. That's it. So that's why we've got to keep these close. But this is Get Ready. Get Ready, Divine Luxury, and The Truth in Your Face. Those have literally never, ever been on vinyl before. Now, the band Borderline actually had some vinyl singles. So you can find, I think, two 7-inch singles of Borderline, which was the pre-Modest Attraction, pre-Narnia band. And there are some songs that transitioned from Borderline and Modest Attraction to also become Narnia songs as well. Not a lot, but there are a few. So there are some songs that do serve that purpose of connecting because they fit. And this one is The Truth in Your Face. And just so you can say you saw actual test pressings, they have been approved. They are at manufacturing. Unfortunately, vinyl manufacturing times are insane. We've approved the manufacturing. It took 2 months after we submitted them. And then they're telling us that, we might not get them till January. So I don't understand how they were there for 2 months. And then, we're supposed to wait like another 7 months. And that's why we did separate release dates. So, if you want the CDs, do a separate order for the CDs. If you're going to go to the website, boonesoverstock.com, and pre-order those. I would recommend a separate order for the CDs so that when the CDs come in, we can ship those out because they'll likely come in quite a lot sooner than what the vinyl is because we may not get vinyl in our hands until January. I hope that's not true. I hope it's more like November or early December, but there's no guarantees that the vinyl is going to be here for Christmas or even after. And even if it is, there's a lot of stuff going on in December, so I don't know if we'll get it. We would even get it shipped out or if it would get there in time. I hate feeling rushed, so I always try to do release dates that are far enough out that people don't have unreasonable expectations. If we do far enough release dates out, then people never complain about if they get them early, even a month early, that people don't complain about that. So you have seen the 3 Modest Attraction albums. You've seen the vinyl. I obviously don't have any like test pressings for CDs, so you did get to see these 2 albums. Get Ready's never been, so I don't, and I had demos of it, but I sold the demos, so you'll have to see that. you can pre-order these now. Depending on when you're looking at this, maybe these releases are already out. And so you'll either be able to pre-order or be able to order from boonsoverstock.com, and we'll be happy to hook you up. These are really special releases. There are YouTube links in the descriptions for each product, and we would encourage you. We do have color and black vinyl of each one. So the black is pretty limited though. So I would not, if you want black, do not wait on getting those. Well, this is maybe the longest video I've ever done, but I wanted you to understand the importance of modest attraction, why it is worthy of your time and attention. And because I was just concerned that maybe all the years since the 90s when modest attraction had been getting exposure in HM magazine, Heaven's Metal magazine, um, Rad Rockers, and a lot of the mail order companies. I just wanted to make sure that people understood the connection that Modest Attraction has between Borderline and the band Narnia. So, with that in mind, enjoy your music. Thank you for being a fan of this music and for choosing to spend your hard earned money at boonsoverstock.com. We do our best to try to meet everybody's needs. We have some great stuff coming out. We would encourage you to click the subscribe button, encourage you to share this, encourage you to make a comment on Facebook, on YouTube, wherever. We appreciate all that stuff helps. All of it helps create interest. All of it helps spread the word that this stuff is available and that it's worthy of people's time, attention, and resources. Thanks so much. Have a great day.